The defendant was sentenced to state prison after pleading guilty to 5 counts of robbery. On appeal and by petition for habeas corpus, he contends that the trial court erred by imposing a consecutive firearm enhancement for each of 4 counts stemming from defendant's simultaneous robbery of 4 victims at gunpoint. We hold that the section contemplates a separate enhancement for each separately punishable underlying offense and was thus properly applied here. Accordingly, we affirm the judgment. According to the facts recited in the probation report, defendant and a companion robbed a drugstore on January 16, 1998. In the course of the robbery, defendant's companion held a store employee at gunpoint. A week later, defendant and the same companion robbed a market in Woodside. On this occasion, defendant pointed a handgun at 3 clerks and the store's owner, whom he ordered to remove and deliver cash from an open safe. Defendant was charged with 5 counts of second-degree robbery. The first 4 counts, 1 for each victim, stemmed from the Woodside incident. As to each of these, it was alleged that he used a firearm so as to be subject to an enhancement. As to the 5th count, which grew out of the robbery, he was charged with an enhancement based on being armed with a firearm. Defendant pleaded guilty to all counts. The trial court sentenced him to 21 years, consisting of a 3-year base term on count 1, consecutive 1-year terms on counts 2 and 3, a 10-year firearms enhancement on count 1, and consecutive enhancements of 3.5 years on counts 2 and 3, with concurrent terms and enhancements on counts 4 and 5. On defendant's petition for habeas corpus, we issued an order to show cause why the sentence should not be vacated for exceeding an indicated sentence of 20 2/3 years. While that matter was pending before this court, the trial court modified the sentence by reducing the base term on counts 1 to 2 years, thereby reducing the total sentence to 20 2/3 years. This appeal followed. Defendant's sole contention is that the sentence reflects a misapplication of the law insofar as it imposes consecutive enhancements based upon the multiple victims in the Woodside robbery. Defendant replies that 1. This point is not available on appeal because it amounts to a challenge to the plea bargain, and defendant did not obtain a certificate of probable cause as required, and 2, on the merits, the sentence reflects a proper application of the statute. We reject the argument that this appeal challenges the validity of the plea and thus requires a certificate of probable cause. In the case cited, a defendant attempted to challenge a specific negotiated sentence. Plaintiff would have us extend these authorities to any sentence falling under a negotiated ceiling. On its face, such an agreement contemplates that the trial court will arrive at a sentence by a lawful exercise of discretion, as in non-negotiated cases, but subject to the constraints of the bargain. We do not believe a challenge to the sentencing calculus in such a case constitutes, in substance or form, a challenge to the validity of the plea. It therefore does not require a certificate of probable cause. On the merits, we hold that the section contemplates multiple enhancements where a defendant uses a firearm in a robbery or similar crime of violence against multiple victims. There is provided additional terms of imprisonment of 10 years, 20 years, and 25 years to life, respectively, for anyone who, in the commission of a specified felony, uses a firearm or discharges a firearm causing great bodily harm. Subdivision F provides only one additional term of imprisonment under this section shall be imposed per person for each crime. If more than one enhancement per person is found true under the section, the court should impose upon that person the enhancement that provides the longer term of imprisonment. An enhancement involving a firearm shall not be imposed on a person in addition to an enhancement imposed pursuant to this section. (124)